Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You know, it is the most wonderful time of the year, unless you're robbing a bank in a Santa suit, unless you're starting a riot over eggnog or getting fined for simply hanging Christmas decorations. Don't worry, I'll explain. My name is Jeremy Long. I'm the host of the Unscaled Travel Show. I am here with my co-host and co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We are coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. And we have a delightfully weird, wild, and sometimes illegal look at the Christmas side of holidays, from outlawed Christmases to drunken cadets, festive heists, and one Canadian disaster that sparked a Boston tradition. We got it all right here in today's episode. It's a lot of fun. You know, I don't say that with any kind of jest. This is, to me, the most wonderful time of the year.
I know you love Christmas. I love Christmas too. I think most people do really enjoy this time of year, but it does tend to make people a little nuts sometimes.
It does. And I'm glad to see that that's not a new thing. Because when I was researching this episode, I came across a lot of stuff, and some of it that we'll talk about today goes back hundreds of years.
Yeah, people going berserk at the holidays is nothing new.
It wouldn't be Christmas without it.
And we're not just talking about when you have to go see your family.
Oh, yeah. That leads to a whole different thing. But I didn't want this to get too dark. There are all kinds of family things around Christmas time that lead to people being unalived and things happening, just some wild things happening. And there's plenty of stuff for that. There's plenty of...
Well, we don't want to talk about that.
No, I didn't want to talk about all of that because that would leave you really depressed. And look, Christmas does enough by itself. Leaves people down in the dumps. But hopefully today we will lift your spirits up because at least you'll have some stories to be like, at least I'm not that guy. Okay. Or those people. Did
you know about the time?
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone everywhere has a Christmas story that, you know, things kind of went sideways a little bit.
Right.
We've been in Austria before and unintentionally started drinking at 10 in the morning because we thought we were ordering nice little holiday, I don't know, drinks, and it ends up it's Jägermeister. And that might be a little naive on our part, but
yeah. I mean,
that led to shenanigans.
It was a bar and a festival, so we should have known. Yeah. But yeah, I thought I was getting some type of warm punch because it was cold.
In a way, we did. But this is on the side of people that absolutely chose to do some really wild things. Well, I want to kick it off in our home state. Now, we're from Texas. A lot of weird stuff goes around in Texas year round, much less Christmas. But Christmas, they really love to up the ante, up the crazy a little bit. And back in 1927, in a place called Cisco, Texas. Now, Cisco, Texas sits about 2 hours west of Fort Worth, Dallas, that whole metroplex area. And in 1927, a man named Marshall Ratliff, he was already an ex-con at this point. Well, this guy got famous because he was one of the first known cases of a person wearing a Santa suit to blend in with the holiday crowds and try to rob a bank.
What is it about people doing crazy things in Santa suits?
I think first it does around the right holiday time.
Yeah.
You do kind of blend in. Now, if he did this in July, people would know.
True.
You know, from the beginning, something was off.
But you're ruining Santa for a lot of people.
Marshall Ratliff attempted robbery of the First National Bank that turned into a massive shootout and a hostage chase. When did this happen? December 23rd, 1927. Ratliff had robbed banks before. The Santa disguise was to give him some cover and help him, close out a little suspicion before things started. Problem was Ratliff started being followed around by children.
Exactly.
Children were asking him for presents.
It's 2 days before Christmas. Did he really think no kids were going to walk up to him and be like, Santa?
Ratliff and 3 other men, they were dressed as Santas. Anyway, they intended to rob this bank. He was a resident or a former resident of the town, and he believed that disguise would make him kind of blend in with everything, right? So they entered the bank, followed by the three other guys. They instantly drew weapons. Okay, everyone get down on the ground. This is a robbery kind of thing. Problem is, two people immediately escaped and alerted the police, and basically a shootout ensued. The robbers fled with over $12,000 in cash, which is a lot of money today, and $150,000 in securities. But on their way out, they took two young girls hostages. And then they had a massive shootout, not only with police, but citizens from Cisco armed themselves and started chasing the bandits too in an actual automobile chase with hundreds of bullets being fired, both at the bandits and the bandits back at the police and the citizens.
I think you just have to stop and picture it, because you're hearing all this and it sounds awful. And yes, it was awful, but you have to picture it, because Marshall Ratliff and his three cohorts,
yeah, good word.
All dressed as Santas. So 4 Santas walk into a bank. Immediately, it just is a little bit weird, right? It kind of sounds like a joke.
I think it's the basis for that movie, 3,000 Miles to Graceland. Remember that terrible Kevin Costner movie back in 2001? 4 Elvises all dressed the same and they rob a casino
Maybe
or something?
so. But so think about it. These 4 Santas walk in.
Yeah, 4 Santas walk into a bank. That sounds like a joke, right?
It does sound like a joke.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it wasn't a joke, but imagine what everybody who is in the bank, like from their point of view. Yeah. Like, it's 2 days before Christmas, and all of a sudden 4 Santas are holding you at gunpoint, robbing a bank. People are shooting around you. They kidnap basically 2 girls. It's just, the whole thing seems completely absurd.
It was complicated by the fact that their getaway car, before it even began, before things really got out of control, their getaway car already had a flat tire. Okay, so they take off down the road. Citizens and police officers are shooting at them. I guess disregarding the
2 little girls,
the 2 young hostages,
right?
Or whatever. Well, we'll just pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and do whatever. But the getaway car very soon started running out of gas because they forgot to fill up the gas tank, I guess. They commandeered a new car, but the driver who ran away had taken the keys and left them stranded. So they stole a new car, but the guy just walked off with the keys, and they didn't have any keys to get away. Basically, the aftermath of all of this, and it was pure chaos in this West Texas town. It was one of the largest manhunts in Texas history. They did get away for just a little while, right? A couple of people unfortunately died. 6 people in total, 2 police officers, 3 of the robbers, and 1 other citizen. Okay. The young girls, I think, were okay. While in jail, Ratliff killed a guard while trying to escape. This further enraged the citizens of Cisco. They formed a mob. They stormed the jail. They dragged him out and delivered some old-fashioned justice.
Christmas justice.
Christmas. I don't know if it was on Christmas, but I don't know if he was still in his suit. But can you imagine if you're a little kid and you're driving by and just seeing...
You've been ruined for Christmas.
Seeing him hanging out somewhere.
Hanging out
like downtown.
Was it with Christmas lights?
They put some mistletoe on him, kissing under Santa. Anyway,
this did get a little dark.
This is the darkest one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back.
Oh, gosh. I think we just may have ruined Christmas for a few people.
Imagine the kids. Cisco's local museums and historical markers still reference the event. One of the big things in their town, you can go by today and go visit the museums and everything and relive the Santa robbery of 1927 in Cisco. Keep it right here, Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We're in Sin City, Las Vegas in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios for all of our past episodes, interviews, things like that. Check us out online, unscaledtravelshow.com. Also, check out our YouTube page where stories like the Cisco robbery of 1927, you'll find stories like that on our YouTube page. It's a lot more interesting. I didn't think, honestly, I forgot about the death on that one. So we're talking about Christmas chaos, and Christmas always seems to bring out the very best in a lot of people. And for some people, especially, I don't know, the criminally minded, it brings out the worst in them.
Unfortunately.
And sometimes it's just because people are hardwired a different way. Other times it has to do with hooch. Like the Eggnog Riot of 1826.
You know what I just found out, though? On Wikipedia, it says that this is sometimes referred to as the Grog Mutiny, which I think is just a fantastic name.
The Grog Mutiny of 1826. Now, you would think this would happen in some, low down, scummy little bar or something like that. No. This was at the illustrious West Point Military Academy in 1826. Okay. What happened? What led up to it? Well, with all things eggnog, it begins with alcohol. And in fact, the lack of alcohol. There was an alcohol ban on the military grounds because the academy superintendent had recently banned it following a very rowdy incident on the 4th of July. Cadets got out of hand with their alcohol, right? So he bans it, and this prompted the cadets to defy the ban by smuggling whiskey for their traditional Christmas eggnog celebration. What happened was on Christmas Eve, 1826, cadets gathered in the North Barracks for their party, and there they consumed homemade boozy eggnog that was made from the smuggled whiskey and also, if this isn't even better, moonshine, which, back then, the wrong kind of distilling process could make you go blind from moonshine.
Oh my gosh.
So it was very, very powerful. And also, people don't understand that like whiskey isn't distilled like it is today.
Yeah.
So whiskey back then was crazy. Moonshine was even crazier. So as the night wore on, the cadets got louder and louder, and faculty members, including their captain, Captain Ethan Hitchcock, attempted to stop their festivities. The intoxicated, I might sound that way, cadets, they reacted how any good person reacts whenever you try to take away their alcohol. They reacted with hostility, which led to violence against the very officers that they were supposed to obey the orders from. The cadets then armed themselves with bayonets, with knives and pistols, and the situation devolved right into a riot.
Can you imagine, though? Like, this is a military school. These people are supposed to be extremely disciplined.
And not just any military school. This is West Point, one of the most prestigious places, especially in the United States, but around the world as well. A lot of future leaders of the United States, past and present, can have their ties to West Point itself. So for them to just basically get drunk out of their minds and then just begin being openly hostile to their captains and everyone else, that's insane.
Over eggnog.
Oh
yeah. I wonder because it says riot and mutiny, like how insane did it actually get? I mean, were they fighting with the?
Yeah.
I can't picture it really.
But
then on top of that, they're all very, very drunk,
and they're young men with booze. Often leads to a lot. It's a lot now, so I can imagine. There's nothing going on in 1826. There's wars and stuff but they don't have like Netflix. They don't have Taco Bell to like just go get a Mexican pizza and sleep it off or anything. and one of the people there on the grounds at the time was kind of infamous in the U.S. history. That would be one Jefferson Davis, who was the future president of the Confederacy before during the Civil War, all of that. So he was a participant who tried to warn his fellow cadets when officers arrived to quell everything that was going on. He was arrested, but he avoided court-martial. The Academy, after everything died down and things got put back in place, right? The Academy investigated the incident, which involved an estimated 70 cadets. Court-martialed? Absolutely. 20 of them, 20 cadets and one soldier were court-martialed. 9 cadets were expelled from the Academy, ending their military careers before they even began. The incident led to more rigid security measures and the redesign of the barracks to make it more difficult for large groups to gather. So, we're going to keep you guys split up. So if this does happen again, instead of 70 guys, at least we'll only fight 17 of you guys.
But if you read the actual story of what happened, it started with just a small group of guys. I think it says 9 guys were the ones that initially smuggled in and were drinking. And then I guess another group found out and came on, and it just grew and grew and grew until they got out of hand. That's
how it usually goes. There's some ne'er-do-wells out there, and they start influencing other people. What was it called? The Grog Mutiny. The Grog Mutiny of 1826.
I can't picture it. I'm trying to, but
really, you can't picture that?
No.
Young guys. These are guys who are 19, 20 years old. Back then, I don't know. They would have been, I guess by then, 18, 20 years old. They're probably senior citizens. Most of their lives are already over, right? But they're young. They're full of testosterone, full of, vigor and vinegar. And then they get, if someone is already drinking, now you've probably seen this. If someone's already inebriated and you try taking that fun juice away from them, most people react not in a good way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
I don't know. I get very huggy when I drink. I'm not a huggy person. But then I'm everyone's best friend.
You have a couple of things that you say a lot when you have had too much to drink. You have a few phrases.
Wait, hold on. Before we go sharing stories, what is this? No, I'm going to go ahead and say these are lies.
You have a few phrases
lies and slander.
that you, when you are intoxicated.
What?
You just reference the same things over and over.
Okay.
And it's funny. I know, because as soon as you say it, I know that you've had too much to drink, and I will tell you, okay, you need to stop drinking. And you're like, I'm fine. And then you'll say it again, and I'm like, no, you're not fine.
Once I start quoting the Gettysburg Address, we know that the night is lost. Keep it right here. It's the Unscaled Travel Show.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer and co-elf, Amy.
Hello. Merry Christmas.
I am, between breaks, I'm wrecking my brain. I'm I can't figure out what I say whenever I've had too much.
Well, I won't tell you because
then I'll avoid it. See, I was being sneaky. I was trying to see what so I could change it up. So inebriated me would think back and be like, oh, thank you, sober Jeremy. Thanks for giving us that little tidbit of information. Because I don't say yippee-ki-yay anymore. I stopped saying that. That's from Die Hard. And I used to...
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie or is it not?
Oh, see, that'll cause people to fight. Is it? Do you think it is?
It's set at Christmas time.
it is set at Christmas time. By that definition, my favorite movie is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, right? Mm-hmm. My favorite Christmas movie or whatever. But they never actually make it to Christmas. It ends on Christmas Eve.
So, I mean, it's Christmas time, though.
So it's Christmas time.
The whole thing is about the season.
But most Christmas movies make it to...
Most.
Christmas. So that's a debate. Like a lot of people will say. Anyway, what are we talking about? We're talking about Christmas chaos, and see, we're about to descend because for whoever doesn't say that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, I don't know if you can be on my Christmas card list. And we have awesome Christmas cards. So we're telling some really fantastic stories that happen around Christmas because Christmas just, I don't know, makes people go a little crazy. And this has been going on, like we said early in the show, many, many years. Going all the way back to our next story, going back to 1647 with the Christmas ban. The Christmas ban, right? Okay. So this is going to take a little setup because it has to do with Parliament in England versus the old king, right? King Charles I. In the 1640s, England was in full-blown civil war. The Parliament, like I said, was full of wonderful Puritans. And they were deathly opposed to King Charles I. The Puritans were hardcore Protestant reformers. They thought most holidays, especially Christmas, were wasteful and sinful and above all those things, way too Catholic. Okay, this is the Puritans talking. Don't write me letters.
So this is a religious war.
Basically. They believed that December 25th wasn't even the real birth date of Christ, which I think we know that is to be true. Again, don't write me letters. And that whole thing had turned into basically drunken excess and pagan leftovers. This was in 1647, about 200 years before the Eggnog Riot.
I'm going to be very, very honest and vulnerable. I didn't realize they celebrated Christmas in 1647.
You know, yeah, I know, right? It wouldn't look like we today. Like how we do Christmas today, obviously. But like if you went back, I don't know, to the beginning of the United States, a lot of places didn't. They didn't do the tree. There absolutely was no like Santa, no imagery that we have now and all of that stuff. So I don't know, do a little.
I'm just wondering what their celebrations looked like at that point. Like, was it, I mean, because it says, and we're about to get into it, but they weren't allowed to celebrate. And so I'm just wondering how were they celebrating that these people felt like it was wasteful and sinful? What was happening?
They didn't have lights.
What was happening in the 1600s?
They're showing too much ankle. There's too much ankle around Christmas time. I don't know if that is true. In June 1647, Parliament officially banned Christmas. They had basically taken over. They were the government, right? They live in a constitutional monarchy over there in the UK. But along with Christmas was Easter and some other religious events, right? So it wasn't just Christmas, but around there. No church services, no feasts, no games, no decorations. Shops were ordered to stay open as if it was a regular working Wednesday, Tuesday, whatever day it was, right? Ministers across the land who defied the ban could be fined or arrested, thrown right into prison, do not pass go, do not collect $200.
So these people, Parliament, the Puritans, they thought they were so holy that they would fine or arrest ministers for acknowledging something that's in the Bible.
Is Christmas in the Bible?
Well, okay, they're saying this is not Jesus' birth. But I mean, at the time,
Christmas is in there.
No, but
okay.
I mean, because to me, usually at church, Christmas time, they're talking about Jesus' birth, that whole story. So they couldn't even talk about that?
That whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know exactly how it is. I don't know if it was like, if you said something along the lines of, the reason for the season. And then some Puritan cop was outside and like.
Yeah, I'm wondering because you said they also banned Easter.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't celebrate Easter? I'm sure they didn't want you celebrating with like chocolate eggs and bunnies and stuff, but I don't think that's how ministers and churches are celebrating Easter.
I can't have no Reese's peanut butter cups. Like those little chocolate bunnies, I can't have none of that. Yeah. And you can imagine how this went over because for centuries, Christmas and the pagan traditions that leading up to Christmas that basically, a lot of religions kind of co-opt from each other, right? But Christmas was kind of the party of the year. It was the end of the year. You had celebrations going on, food, drink, games, gifts, mischief, all of that kind of stuff. It was basically, in most parts, it was a rowdy week-long celebration. And then suddenly, very quickly, with a stroke of a pen, basically, all of that was now illegal. So when we found over history that when you take away people's ability and rights to just kind of let off some steam, and celebrate the fact that you make it through another scummy year, people get upset.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you think about it now, from Christmas to New Year's, even if you have to go to work, not a whole lot of work is happening.
No.
Like that whole week is just sort of nobody knows what day it is, what time it is. Mm-hmm. You're eating anything you want. It's just kind of a free for all. So if suddenly all that went away and it's like back to the office, work. Like I think there would be a grog mutiny now.
If Amy's bosses are listening. She's just basically letting people know last couple of weeks of the years she ain't doing nothing. We all aren't. Nobody's doing anything, right? Keep it right here. We're gonna see what happens. It's not good. Unscaled Travel Show.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy along here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We're in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. We're talking about Christmas chaos, specifically the ban on Christmas in England in 1647. It didn't go over well. Okay.
And the people spoke up, didn't they?
The people liked their eggnog. They like their, what do they have? How old is eggnog?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I think that's the new thing. Have you seen lately, like a lot of celebrities are coming out with their own, like they've had for years, like their own alcohols and things. But now, like specifically the last couple of years, I've seen people come out with their own eggnogs.
Ugh. Do you like eggnog?
On occasion. It depends on who makes it. I've had one version before, and I can't remember who made it, that it was actually pretty good. I have actually tried, someone did the Martha Stewart, the heavy eggnog. Boy, let me tell you something right there. Ooh, talk about put hair on your body right there. Even Martha has come out and said, like, you want to sip this stuff. And, like, 1 cup is probably good for everyone because it is a lot.
Is it?
A lot of alcohol.
I've tried eggnog once, long time ago, and I was not a fan.
Yeah.
And I've never tried it again.
Acquired taste.
It smells good. I want to like it.
It smells all like, what's the nutmeg?
Yeah.
It depends on how people make it, I guess. Anyway, off topic. People like celebrating things, okay? If anything else, just a day to stop working. Any day, please. Sometimes the only thing that separates us from chaos is a cup of coffee and a Saturday morning. That's all that separates us from descending into just madness, right? As soon as they said, hey, no more celebrations, no more anything like that, of course the people said, yeah, make us, right? In Canterbury, when the mayor ordered shops to stay open on Christmas Day like it was just a local any other day kind of thing, the people there started to riot. They started to, they shut down their businesses in protests. They decorated the streets anyway, and they forced the mayor into hiding. So rioting has a different meaning in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Now, it would be counterproductive of them to burn down their own shops.
Right.
You would think, in some cases. But so their act of defiance was, you know what? I'm shutting down business anyway. The Papa John's is closed. All of that. None of it's happening. And Frosty the Snowman, we're putting them in the street We're doing the jingles. We're doing everything. I'm putting on my little elf slippers.
They basically said, we're ignoring your order to stay open.
Yeah. But
I don't call that a riot, but I know it got more rioty in other places.
They started threatening the mayor. They forced him into hiding. The unrest, though, didn't last that one day. It lasted weeks. The city basically refused to obey Parliament. That's what it was. They said, no. You're not going to do this to us, and we'll show you. We're going to keep everything closed for an extended period of time. We're going to keep our decorations up. Similar scenes played out in villages and towns all across the UK, right? Norwich, I don't know how to pronounce their... Yeah, other places, I'm sure were just as furious, right? But here's the thing. Christmas was literally killed. In one of the riots, a man named Christmas was killed. His name was Christmas. Number one, that should be punishment enough, right? Someone named this poor guy Christmas. But he was actually killed in the riots. So people kind of branched out and were like, Parliament literally killed Christmas. And it was just a thing they couldn't come back from. People marched with holly branches. They called themselves the Old Christmas protesters in protests against the Parliament and everything. So
you don't think of people protesting in the 1600s, and here they are protesting not only Parliament, like, things that happen now, protesting against the government, but also, an unjust death. It feels very eerily similar to some of the things that have happened in more recent years. Maybe not over Christmas, but, I guess times haven't changed that much.
No, absolutely not, man. The more they change, the more they stay the same, right? So the ban stayed in place throughout the English Civil War, the Christmas ban, and Oliver Cromwell's Puritan rule. Now, he ruled for a few years, but the monarchy was finally restored in 1660. King Charles II immediately brought back Christmas because he was like, hey, I saw what y'all did, and I don't want none of that, right? People partied hard. It was a cultural snapback. Celebrations everywhere. Mariah Carey came out. She started, that's what that damn song first came out, 16 whatever. And it's been playing ever since, oftentimes before Halloween is even over. This was one of the only times in Western history that Christmas was outright illegal, but it wasn't the only time. And it even happened here in the United States, right? And just show you how weird America was. Christmas wasn't just ignored in some places. It was literally like illegal in places. In Massachusetts in 1659, you could get fined 5 shillings just for celebrating. So no feasting, no decorations, no day off. Shops and schools were expected to stay open, just like, in the Puritan protest or whatever. The law stayed that way on the books for over 20 years. You could get fined for celebrating Christmas. And even after it was repealed, New England towns kept resisting Christmas well into the 1800s. That's why I was saying at the beginning of the show, if we went back 300 years in the same place, like, we wouldn't recognize Christmas because a lot of places didn't celebrate it, or it was illegal to celebrate even here in the United States.
Wow. Isn't this the same time that Massachusetts was like accusing women of being witches and things?
Absolutely.
So those Puritans, they were
busy. They were busy doing things. Massachusetts didn't even make it a legal holiday until 1856.
Wow.
So if your neighbors seem like they're skipping this Christmas, or the spirit of Christmas just isn't happening, maybe they're not curmudgeons. Maybe they're just old school Puritans. So just keep that in mind.
That's a little sad.
Yeah. When it all said and done, it all comes down to control. And that's what it is. And you can look at the religion part of it. You can look at secular things about it, paganisms, things of that nature. But really, it comes down to control. When you grip too tightly, you lose all control completely.
Well, like you said, people need to be able to celebrate.
They need that eggnog. We need Mariah Carey. It's Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
I lost my voice. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Wow. Okay. Made too much fun of the Puritans. Jeremy Long here with my little elf, Amy.
Hello.
We're talking about Christmas chaos found because all around the world, because, Christmas is a special time.
It really is.
It really is. You and I have, for the most part, had pretty normal Christmases. We've had a few white Christmases and things of that nature. There's been a couple of times, though, Christmas Eve to be exact. We had a really fun incident.
We did.
We woke up to a SWAT team in our yard.
And this was just a few years ago.
They were not coming for us.
No.
But they did have guns drawn and a shield and all kinds of stuff.
Creeping through our front yard. We're making coffee in the kitchen. We open the blinds and there's the SWAT team slowly making their way across our yard to our neighbor's house.
Our direct neighbor, they were up to something. They were doing something they shouldn't have been doing. I don't know what. I don't want to,
But that
speculate.
was a Christmas you don't forget.
Yeah, you don't forget that. And a lot of people have had different and similar kind of stories. We've talked about the Cisco Santa Claus Bank Robbery of 1927, the Eggnog Riot at West Point in 1826, and of course the Puritan ban on Christmas all the way back in 1647. But it's not just these old times. A lot of times it's just kind of idiots doing idiot things.
Yeah. And
people, look, I try not to judge people too harshly, although the show is just full of judgment all the time. But Christmas, holidays, these kind of things, they often make people desperate.
They do.
Especially for money around this time of year. And so things can often get out of hand, right?
Well, and this next story, I used to work at a bank for many years. And this was something every holiday season, our security team would have a meeting with all the employees and talk about this, how people do get desperate. We really needed to keep our eyes on who's coming in and out. And some other banks in our area did get robbed at Christmas time. And a few years we had to hire extra security to be there because there is the fear that a desperate person would come in and try to rob you.
And it happens every year.
Yes.
In almost not every city, but a lot of cities across not only the nation, but the world. It happens. It's unfortunate. But there are unique times when people love, for some reason, to dress up like Santa Claus, thinking that this is going to help them.
Once again.
They didn't learn from 1927. They didn't learn from Cisco, right? Not the singer, but the city. You could learn a lot from the singer, too. That's a totally different. Anyway, they call it the Bomb Box Santa. And this happened in Port Orange, Florida in 2016, right? A man named Mark.
2013, I thought.
Oh, 2013? Okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry. 2013. Mark Neil London. He was a bank robber who dressed in a full Santa suit, claiming that a gift wrapped box was actually a bomb. There was a bomb inside. So he walked in holding it. Now, I know you go through the training, and that's scary. I'm not making light of that because real people were involved with that, right? He claimed the box had explosives. The bank evacuated, and the bomb squad was called in. Turns out the box was harmless, but the suspect fled with cash. And here's the thing. He kind of got away for a little while.
Yeah.
But he was arrested and later sentenced to a number of years because you just don't do that.
Yeah. So what they train tellers to do is give the guy the money. Get them out of here. Do whatever you have to do to get them out of the building. Yeah. You're even told not to necessarily hit the silent alarm until it's safe.
Right.
So the teller would have given them the money, and then it says that he left the package on the counter. So they didn't even evacuate until he was out, and then they all fled.
Something similar happened in a robbery in Nashville in 2009. A guy walked in with a Santa suit, right? And, he had the hat, the beard, the whole mustache, dark sunglasses, entered the bank. I know there's a bank branch over here that you can't even walk in with a hat and sunglasses.
No, that's one of the things too.
Okay.
As a teller, when somebody walked in with hats and sunglasses, we were supposed to greet them immediately and keep eyes on them.
Yeah, which is kind of telling for that. But bank managers noticed the sunglasses. They asked them to remove the sunglasses because these are kind of those newer measures that have been in place for a few years now. He then brandished a gun. He announced the stick up, right? He fled the scene in a sedan, not a sleigh. And he actually got away. You know, they were on his trail, kind of went cold, but then he decided to do it again. The suspect later, a few months later, his name ended up being David Christopher Cotton. He was actually unalived in a shootout with police in March. So just a couple of months later, March of 2010, after he attempted another robbery, this time dressed as a leprechaun. Because it was March, St. Patrick's.
I don't even have words for that one. I think it's one thing to dress as Santa at Christmas time. How many people do you really see dressed as leprechauns in Tennessee? Not even like a town that's primarily Irish. In Tennessee, a leprechaun walking into a bank immediately. I think everybody would have been on alert.
Look, I mean, obviously, people like this aren't the brightest people in the world. But for the most part, it seems like he got away. You got the money. It had been months. You know, I'm not saying he wouldn't eventually have been caught, but you were, you know, why go right back into it? And then this time to dress up as a leprechaun. This actually, not the leprechaun part, but the Santa thing, actually researching this, there's a lot of these in like Australia.
Really?
There are a number of cases where people have dressed up as Santa Claus and gone into banks and stores and robbed them.
So they don't have an original idea.
What would the original idea be?
Well, I'm just saying they think, oh, I'm going to dress up like Santa. And it's been happening and these people are getting caught. Why?
They were dressed up as the Beatles when they came in. I don't know. I mean, there was the thing. Okay, so like people used to wear, I mean, there was a movie called Dead Presidents. And they, you know, there was another movie where what was it? What Keanu? Point Break.
Yeah.
Point Break, where they had the presidential mask, you know, and that was a whole big thing. And they, you know, they couldn't identify them that way or whatever. But the leprechaun thing, because look, I have a certain vision in my mind of what a leprechaun, the outfit of a leprechaun. And I just, it's cracking me up because are the pants short? Was he shorter? Like I didn't do research on that, how tall he was. But was David Christopher Cotton tall? I don't know.
Yeah, I think if a leprechaun walks into a bank, again, sounds like a joke, everybody's going to take notice. So that wasn't a smart move on.
Four Santas and a leprechaun walk into a bank. One of them looks at the other. No, never mind. But yeah, so this is quite a common thing. Unfortunately, dressing up like Santa and doing it. I think that kind of ruins it because, like I said, with the Cisco Bank Robbery in 1927, like kids are around a lot of times in these instances. And that'll just, and then what happened to the guy in Cisco, you know, with the lynch mob, I mean, that's got to stay with you. In fact, with the Cisco one, kind of going back to that, a guy later, you know, wrote the definitive book on it. And he talked to a bunch of the citizens that were still alive from that time period around the like 2000s, talked to them and got firsthand, you know,
accounts
and everything else to see, you know, what they thought of it. And a lot of them that were young at the time, obviously they were kind of scarred from it.
Well, yeah, I would be too.
They were like, I went up and asked Santa for a football and he cussed me out and told me to get away.
He pulled a gun and robbed a bank instead. Yeah, I don't think you forget that. Although I assume children weren't approaching a leprechaun asking him for anything.
You'd never know.
He was just looking for his pot of gold, I guess.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. And my voice is cracking. It's Jeremy Long, your host, here with my little co-elf, Amy.
Hello.
We are in Sin City, Las Vegas, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios, talking about Christmas chaos. Christmas is my favorite time of year. It often brings joy to millions around the world. We've had past episodes on our show where you can find us, Unscaled Travel Show. Past episodes, right? Where we've celebrated different holiday traditions from around the world. Like in Japan, especially in Tokyo, they do a KFC. They eat buckets of chicken for Christmas. And different parts of, I think it was South America, they do roller skating nights to celebrate it. And there's been all kinds of fun festive ones for a select group of people whose brains continue to be studied. That means crime. And it means crime and punishment. You kind of looked at me like, where is he going with
I was wondering where you're going with that.
We have talked about robberies in Cisco, Texas, and Eggnog Riots at West Point. All kinds of fun things that now we can kind of laugh at a little bit. Where some people may have lost their lives. I guess it's not all that fun. But it's often around Christmas time and holidays, and it kind of makes people do little wild things. One thing that was born out of a terrible, terrible disaster, that it actually led to a wonderful, like, Boston tradition. And yes, I said wonderful because I actually do mean it. If you've ever been to Boston around the holiday time, you often see these big cities that have like the city tree and everything. Mm-hmm. A lot of people in Boston might know that tree almost every single year comes from Nova Scotia, Canada. Right?
Yes.
In Halifax.
Yes.
Halifax and Nova Scotia, right? And they ship them a Christmas tree, but people don't often know why they ship them a Christmas tree. And it's been a part of Nova Scotia's, like their actual government has like deemed it this thing. We're going to give Boston a Christmas tree. Since the 70s, it's been official. But what happened was in 1917, December of 1917, Halifax was flattened. A French cargo ship carrying wartime explosives, remember this is like World War I, it collided with another vessel in the harbor. And the ensuing fireball that followed leveled the waterfront, shattered windows 50 miles away, and in almost an instant, 1,600 people that were around the waterfront area were killed. It was a huge explosion, the biggest explosion the world had ever seen up to that point in time, later to be suppressed only by the bombings in World War II, right? The atomic bombs of World War II. It was the largest non-nuclear explosion in human history up to that point. And immediately, miles away, Boston, who a lot of people on the ships claimed they heard it, claimed they felt the explosion all those many miles away. And if you don't know, by car today, Halifax is about 10 hours north of Boston. But at that time, the harbors were actually pretty close to each other, right? Boston's mayor got on the phone with the mayor of Halifax, and before he even got official word, they started loading trainfuls of medical supplies, of relief, doctors, nurses, all kinds of people, food, clothing, all kinds of things, loaded up into a train, and less than 12 hours later, this train was headed to Halifax for relief. A lot of people from the Boston area stayed in Halifax for the entire year, working double shifts, trying to rebuild, first doing search and rescue efforts, putting out fires because Halifax burned for days.
Wow.
And doing all of that. And for the year, they rebuilt the city. And in the next year, December 1918, Nova Scotia, Halifax in general, they sent Boston a Christmas tree, a small gesture of thanks for showing up when it mattered most to their city. And it was a one-time gift. Mm-hmm. But they kept remembering it and sending things, sporadically, just keeping that thought alive. And in 1971, the province of Nova Scotia made it official. Every year, they would send Boston a massive 40 to 60 foot tall tree as a permanent thank you for their aid, and never forget that moment in human history.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm getting emotional.
Right? And so today, the tree still arrives on a flatbed truck traveling hundreds of miles across the border. It's lit every December on Boston Common in a public ceremony. Crowds gather, speeches are made, the lights go up. And a lot of time, even today, people don't remember why, but it's that moment right there that the Canadians come back to the people of Boston and say, thank you. We remember for you, we remember you being there for us in our time of need. And so like I said, the Christmas tree is hauled in on a truck, on a flatbed truck, and it's given a full police escort from border to border and all the way down into the city. So it's kind of a really beautiful moment born out of this absolute moment of pandemonium, basically.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine when the tanker or the freight line exploded?
Yeah.
Just how awful that was. And here's a city in a different country, hours away, that's like, we're coming to help. Yeah. And here it is 100 years later, and the town of Halifax is still thanking the people of Boston.
Yeah. I mean, it is amazing. You can do the simplest of Google searches and see the pictures from Halifax, the smoke plumes in the air that happened moments after the explosion took place. And they estimate that it was a 2.9 kiloton explosion, which, again, was the largest explosion ever recorded up to that date. And we're in the middle of World War I at that time. And they say, I'm looking at the official thing here, as many as 1,600 people were killed instantly.
Oh, that's awful.
Some people, they say, were vaporized because of the explosion was so big and so powerful that it just, did so much. And I like the fact that if you read into the official account, the mayor of Boston called, and obviously, the mayor of Halifax and the representatives of Halifax, I mean, there's so much going on. You can imagine the chaos.
Yeah.
And trying to get answers and then just saying, you know what, whatever, I'm ordering a train out. Like, let's get everything we can on board. And I didn't mention it, but the people of Boston in 24 hours, I think less than 24 hours, they raised $1.5 million that in 1917 would be tens of millions of dollars today in less than 24 hours. And then over the next year raised an additional $15 million to help with the efforts to rebuild their city, city. So, it started out as that one-time gift and then just kind of snowballed from there. And the people have just been grateful ever since. And now, I mean, we're dealing with grandkids and great grandkids and things of that nature. But it's nice to see that, not only can out of chaos do we have interesting stories, but also out of chaos can come these wonderful moments that hopefully, I'm sure in the Boston area they do teach them about that. But
yeah, I think a lot of holiday traditions probably started in a way that most people aren't fully aware of. I mean, people have been decorating Christmas trees long before this happened, but like this particular tradition of a tree coming from Halifax to Boston started with this incident. And I wonder what other traditions people have that maybe came out of something not so great, but has turned into what is now a nice tradition for the family or for the town.
Yeah.
I mean,
that is an interesting thought.
The holidays are steeped in traditions. Some people buck it, some people embrace the traditions, but do people really know where they came from? Like what started them?
Like why do we do what we do?
Right.
What are the, because you can look at a lot of things that are like, I guess, bound in maybe religious backgrounds and go, okay, I understand. But for some of the other things that are just a little bit different, like why do we gather in this place? Why do we have this memorial? Why do we have this? I think it's important for people, even in their own towns, to just remember and go and dig a little bit deeper. Because I think when you grow up in a place, it can kind of blind you to stuff. And it kind of numbs you to stuff. And it's not until you leave there that maybe you can look back and appreciate the things that you had or what was going on. But it's important to kind of, even the not so good times can teach you something about, either the area you came from or a little bit about yourself, about your family.
Yeah.
And about those that came before you that maybe you didn't know. It might, I don't know, might make your little Grinch heart grow 3 sizes. I know mine certainly did today. My heart grew 3 sizes. Right?
Did it?
No, it didn't. I'm dead inside. Thanks for joining us. It's Unscaled Travel Show. See you guys next time.